The news is live on Joy99.7 FM in Accra in Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM in over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Pad FM in Damango, Kaliao FM in Akachi, and Menuveve FM in Aflao, Radio Wa in Wa. You can also go digital on your Spotify, myjoyonline.com app, and on Facebook. In this edition, sponsors of the anti-LGBTQ bill in Parliament issue a 24-hour ultimatum to the Inspector General of Police to pull down billboards they say promotes the activities of the LGBTQ plus community in Ghana.
Carry out the necessary security operations to ensure that this billboard, which is an affront to the 1992 Constitution, is taken down in conjunction with the MCE for the area.
We'll have details plus a reaction by the LGBTQ community.
Which part of those rights, responsibilities, and even in our criminal code have we breached any part of it as a result of mounting that billboard?
Also this afternoon,
where there's a gathering, people must wear their masks. Schools, churches, inside an airplane, we encourage that people should wear their masks.
Go back to wearing your masks, the recommendation of the Ghana Health Service, as scientists detect two new strains of the Omicron variant, which are resistant to COVID-19 vaccines in circulation across the country.
We've now detected BA4 and BA5. We have to get back to some of the protocols that we have lacked. The protection from previous exposure to the Omicron BA1 and BA2 does not protect adequately against these two variants.
We'll get to hear from scientists leading Ghana's sequencing of the COVID-19 virus who are advocating a mass return to the safety protocols, including a jab every 6 months.
It's no longer sufficient to say you've received 2 shots at some point in your life. And so do we need to change the definition of fully vaccinated to now include the fact that you need to be 6 months of your last COVID shot?
Also, panic among some parents with newborns in the northern region as Joy News sources review shortage of oral polio vaccine there. I have details of that in sports.
Sports Ministry's quest to raise $25 million for blacks participating in the AFCON and World Cup appears to be generated later as the ministry has not been able to get even up to $5 million.
And much later, Global Conservation Coalition asked government to reverse its plans to mine bauxite in the Atiwa forest, as it says the significance of the biodiversity hotspot should not be sacrificed for short-term gains.
If you look at Atiwa forest, there are many different rivers coming out of this forest. If you cut down the forest, not only you lose biodiversity, but you lose these essential ecosystem services that Atiwa forest is providing.
We have that and more in today's edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Please stay for details. This is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. And in our very first story for this afternoon, sponsors of the anti-LGBTQ bill in Parliament have issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufudampare, to pull down billboards they say promotes the activities of the community in Ghana. Now, this follows the erection of giant billboards on major roads in the country in commemoration of the Gay Pride Month, which falls in June each year. One of the billboards sited at the end of the Tema-Accra bound side of the motorway has rainbow colors with the text, "When all Ghanaians are treated equally, no matter where they are or who they love, that's true freedom." One of the sponsors of the bill, Sam George, wants the billboard pulled down.
We realize that a billboard promoting the activities of the LGBTQ community have been mounted at along the motorway. As sponsors of the bill before Parliament and as members of Parliament who represent the aspirations and will of the Ghanaian people, we have deemed it important to show up here today to register in the strongest way our displeasure, our discomfort, and our abhorrence for this unholy, uncultural, and untraditional advertisement that has been put up on a very iconic road, the N1, the Tema motorway. we are by this calling on the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Dampare Ekufu, to immediately, within the next 24 hours, carry out the necessary security operations to ensure that this billboard, which is an affront to the 1992 Constitution, is taken down in conjunction with the MCE for the area. Failure to take action, as citizens, we will take action as enjoined by our Constitution to defend the Constitution.
Well, convener of the National Coalition of Proper Human Sexual and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, Moses Fuamweni, has charged the Akufo-Addo administration to live to the dictates of the battle is the Lord mantra, which signifies utmost trust in the dictates of the Lord's teachings.
We're appealing to this government, especially this current government, because the NPP government won on the mantra of the battle is the Lord's. And the president puts out his faith in the Lord out to all of us. And that's beautiful. But you see, it is important that we enforce the matters that are counter to God's will. That's very important. So there is a higher spiritual obligation on the members of parliament of the ruling government to ensure that the bill is passed. Two, the institutions of state that are under the control of the ruling government, like the Inspector General of Police, the BNI, all the state institutions and the MPs for this particular area, everybody stands together to oppose what is happening. Because it is the children of this country whose lives and whose future are at stake.
Well, we can hear from President of the LGBTQ Plus Rights Ghana, Alex Donko. The group that put up the billboards have been reacting.
So my question is, what was the message on that billboard that is incriminating or that is criminal, so much so that they are calling on the police to pull down the billboard? And one will ask that a country that is so outraged over a billboard that speaks about love, tolerance, acceptance, as compared to all the negative experiences that we're experiencing in this country, is one that we really need to critically ask ourselves these hard questions. That where does our priorities lies? Which part of those rights, responsibilities, and even in our criminal code, have we breached any part of it as a result of mounting that billboard?
And we're yet to hear from the police on this ultimatum issued by sponsors of this anti-gay bill. We'll be following that closely and bring you more on that. But go back to wearing your masks. That's the recommendation of the Ghana Health Service as it emerges there are new strains of the COVID-19 Omicron variant in circulation across the country. The Omicron variant of COVID-19 was the main driver of the country's fourth wave, peaking at more than 1,000 new cases daily. This afternoon, as the infections begin to rise again, scientists at the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, WACPIP, say they've detected 2 new variants which are resistant to the vaccines in the country. Yes, founding director of WACPIP, Professor Gordon Awondere, and research fellow at WACPIP, Dr. Yalbidiako.
It is interesting to note that we've now detected BA4 and BA5 in Ghana for the first time. It probably explains the increasing number of cases we're seeing, and it means that we have to get back to some of the protocols that we have lacked, because these 2 variants, the protection from previous exposure to the Omicron BA1 and BA2 does not protect adequately against these 2 variants if you are not fully vaccinated.
I think if we look at the data, we cannot say that COVID has skipped Africa. Seroprevalence rates, seropositivity of over 70, close to 80%, means 8 out of 10 people have been within the past probably 3 to 6 months exposed to the virus. So I think we still, we cannot say that outbreak is over by any stretch of the imagination. Once travel restrictions were withdrawn, majority of testing in our countries also declined.
Well, just yesterday, the Ghana Health Service recommended the wearing of face masks in schools, churches, and other enclosed areas. Here's its Director General, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji.
There are high-risk areas where if there's a patient who has it there, transmission is high. And these are enclosed spaces. These are places where there's very close contact, mass gathering, where people are. And then, so these are areas we continue to encourage that.
Schools,
churches, inside an airplane, we encourage that people should wear their masks for that period that they are there, especially to help us assuage any further spikes. Workplaces where there's a gathering, people must wear their mask. In my office, if I'm there alone, I may not wear it, but as soon as I have visitors, I wear. And so you need to put in a system that creates some social distancing and also wearing a mask where you need to.
Well, you need to wear the mask also in the face of the influenza and also the monkeypox that we've recorded in 3 regions in the country. Now, we'll stay on health because Joy News sources in the northern region have reviewed a shortage of oral polio vaccines there. The sources tell Joy News the situation has created panic among some parents who have newborns and require the vaccines as part of their vaccination. Our correspondent, Martina Bugri, notes the shortage is coming at a time the region has already discovered polio in some drains in the Koblimagu, in the Tamale Metropolis, and Nyanshegu in the Sanorugu municipality. Martina Bugri joins us on the phone lines with details on this. Martina, tell us about how dire the situation is according to your sources.
Now, parents who have visited health facilities to have this vaccine for their children for over a month now would have been told to go and camp. And it's beginning to have a toll on parents. I spoke to a parent who is looking at the possibility of arranging to get the child sent to Bolga if there is any to have the vaccine. It shows how desperate parents are getting because recently they found some polio virus in some drains in the city, and so it makes it imperative that people begin to protect their children because you don't know where your child would have these. And so people are, especially parents, are beginning to get worried. They want government address this issue before it gets out of hand.
You've been interacting with the Deputy Director of Public Health at the Northern Regional Health Directorate, Dr. Hilarious Abiu. Did he give any assurances as to what will be done?
He says that for the past 3 months now they have not had, but he's unable to tell when it will be available. So he referred us to the national level to engage for those who are in charge there to give us reasons and when they'll be expecting some.
Okay, that's Tamale correspondent, Northern Regional correspondent Martina Bugri there with details on the shortage of polio vaccines in the Northern region. Well, the Ghana Meteorological Agency this afternoon is demanding the payment of 80 million cedi debt owed by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Airports Company Limited. According to the Director General of the agency, Eric Isuman, the amended act of the Meteorological Agency enjoins the two organizations to pay his agency a percentage of every fee they charge in their operations. However, they've refused to make the payment since 2019. They cumulatively owe the agency about 80 million cedis. This is Eric Isuman, and he says it's affecting their operations.
In fact, as at June 2021, I had the data, and as at that time, they owe us about 60 million per the data that I had. We are supposed to do a reconciliation with them. And written to them, they've not been cooperating that much. In fact, when we cry and cry and cry, they will throw something at us. Take this. But that's not what we are looking for. It's a law that must be complied with. What does the law say? So if you even give me a certain amount, what percentage of that to the, how much you have collected? What is that? And so we've had some series of meetings with the airport company and civil aviation, because the argument is that, well, billing is different from, it's different from what they have received. So they can expect this much, but actuals may be different from the projected. And so he said, fine, whatever it is, you have the data, let's sit down and let's do the reconciliation. Let me know exactly how much you owe us. And then how are you going to, when are you going to pay the money? Start paying. And they have so many excuses that they give.
Eric Isuman there is Director of the Ghana Meteorological Agency. We can hear from the Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Charles Kreko. He has disputed the quantum of debt as demanded by the Met Agency.
We had a meeting with GMET, including the DG himself,
and I had a meeting personally with him, and we all agree that we're going to do a reconciliation of the figures. So the two teams, our finance team and their finance team, have been meeting, and they are yet to come out with figures. So I was surprised that he's mentioning figures 60 million, 80 million, and I've never seen that figure. So until they conclude on that reconciliation meeting, we have no figure. And from there we can come out with a payment plan on how to go forward with payment. So that is where we are. Okay. And we are still talking, I'm still talking with the DG. Before we come out with a payment plan and we finish the reconciliation, we've been giving them some payments. And the last payment that we gave them was 400,000 Ghana cedi. That was in March.
That's the Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Charles Kreko there. Now, Center for Democratic Development, CDD, is backing calls for powers of the executive arm of government headed by the President to be limited through a constitutional review. This comes after the National Commission for Civic Education reviewed in an interview with Joy News that views collated so far from Ghanaians toward the reformation of the 1992 Constitution point to a groundswell to have portions of the Constitution amended, especially Article 70, to make government more effective and have local government representatives elected. Research fellow with CDD Ghana, Gilfred Isiama, believes such calls are in the right direction because the powers giving to the president undermine accountability.
If you look at the even appointment powers of the president, it's too wide. It's too wide. It's just too much. I mean, the president appoints almost every important person in this country. And as I said, the key issue that we must consider is, are these powers necessary for the core function of the executive, which is formulation and implementation of policies? Beside that, I think some of the powers that we have bestowed on the president actually undermines accountability and transparency in the functions of the executive. So it's about time we considered revising some of the powers that we have given to the president. I mean, right. Look, Public Services Commission, Lands Commission, SHRAJ, NCC, Auditor General. So why do we need the president to appoint the Auditor General? How does the independent appointment processes of the Auditor General affect the function of the executive? And I think that is one key question that we must ask ourselves.
A local government analyst, Fred Ejaku Odro, agrees but says it must be done with caution.
I am very much unhappy with the level to which the executive controls parliament, especially the majority side of parliament. However, I mean, there's a history to it. We can go back to 1980, thereabout 79, 80 under President Lehman, where we had a government having virtually a minority in parliament. These are things that can lead to instability in the system. So, yes, I do agree. We need to have a review of the hold of the executive on the parliament. But then we must be cautious never to jeopardize the stability of the democracy we have. The challenge with reviewing this constitution is also partly to do with our inability to have a national consensus. Some people have the view that this is our baby, we created it. There's no way we'll allow anybody to touch it. Some people have a view that this was based on an ideological stance, so we must change it at all costs.
You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we've been talking about, first to our headlines, sponsors of the anti-LGBTQ bill issue a 24-hour ultimatum to the IGP to pull down billboards they say promote the activities of the LGBTQ plus community in Ghana. When we return, we have sport and then also Global Conservation Coalition as government to reverse its plans to mine bauxite in the Etiwa forest.
If you look at Etiwa forest, there are many different rivers coming out of this forest. If you cut down the forest, not only you lose biodiversity, but you lose these essential ecosystem services that Etiwa forest is providing.
We also have our Living Standard series as well as Tech Thursday.
If you want to switch it off, then you just send a text message to the number on the SIM.
Yema Wakwaba, ba Akwaba Magic Ebusia. Brand new channel, Tia Roba, Emuno Chiao. Ewo DSTV channel 149 and Go TV channel 108. Enianom Akwaba Magic Ebusia. Edi Nigeria wa Ghanaian programs mu bofi. Ebi to set the day to have and to hold. Enyom senior Kasie series any talk show. Bemo Wakao TV sets nechi. Akwaba Magic Ebusia. Ewo DSTV access to your 50 Ghana cedis per any Go TV value to your 25 Ghana cedis per Ebusia Akwaba.
Hey, Efo, what brings you to my house this early morning? I hope all is well.
All is never well with me or my brother. After paying 3 times for the land for my project, the construction workers are giving me wahala. From material overestimation to small steering and excuses from artisans. Charlie, I'm tired though. Works that can be done in 2 weeks are done over 2 months. I have to pay them whether the work is good or not.
I told you so, Efo.
It's all because you're trying to become builders when you're corporate workers and business people. Edlom has products tailored to meet your needs. Villas 3 at Amrahia, where there are finished homes with very flexible payment terms. For more information, please visit edlomhousing.com. Send an email to sales@edlomhousing.com or simply call 0270-166-166. Edlom Housing, where spacious and quality homes cost less.
Many thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. We are live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM. It's time for sports. Muftal, what do we have?
MFA, last year, the Ministry of Youth and Sports rolled out an initiative to raise $25 million for the Black Stars' participation in the African Cup of Nations as well as the World Cup, including other events. Well, Joy Sports followed up with the Minister of Youth and Sports to find out how much they have made so far.
Yes, it's still on course. We've made more than $2 million now, and we are still appealing to corporate institutions to support us. These successes that we are talking about today do not come just by accident. It came by investment. Because the last time Commonwealth Games we went, only 78 athletes qualified. This time we are talking over 100. So it means we gave opportunity to more athletes to go for qualifications, and they've qualified. They prepared. They have more preparation time to be able to prepare to go. So there's huge investment going to even the non-football sporting discipline. But we can only do that by with corporate Ghana supporting us and corporate institutions supporting us and individual philanthropists supporting us.
So even MFA can go and support them to go to the World Cup. MFA, how much will you donate?
Okay, we'll see. Don't worry. Thank you very much, Uta. It's time for our Living Standard series. Then we can decide if we can contribute to it. What was your grocery budget the last time you went shopping? Mami C. Thompson and the Living Standards team were at the Agbogloshi market and report that food prices are skyrocketing.
I came to do shopping for the house and we couldn't buy anything. Like today now I budget like 3 point something. I came here now it's 4 point something. I have to go back. And it's like time almost here. I brought 10 million and so near my piano matter. Now then all the agusono. Me pacho near man all the agusono. Mempen ma fantastic say when I make guso.
Isn't the only thing that irritates Josephine in the Agbogloshi market. Traders slapping her with exorbitant prices irritates her.
Yes, Christo. Yes, Christo. But I think Antos boy, they know. Ghana. I see 80 Ghana and Pona, all the Amayansa. So they are content and what chop bad, they are prone at the Bamau.
At this point, Josephine had to think on her feet. The money she brought to the market was inadequate, so she changed the meal plan in order to feed her family.
I came to do shopping for the house and we couldn't buy anything. What were you coming to buy? Tomatoes, pepper and onion.
And how did you find the prices?
Very difficult. Very difficult. We couldn't buy. Common broom, this one for 5 cedis. Broom. 5 cedis.
Wow.
From Agbogloshi, so going to Makola, how can you buy?
She planned her budget based on the prices she had met a few weeks before. A small bucket of tomatoes cost 20 cedis at the time. However, 2 weeks later, she's purchasing it for 40 cedis. She needs to withdraw more funds from her mobile money account.
2 weeks ago, you could buy this for 20 cedis. And today it said 80, but she gave it to us for 40 cedis. 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, you can buy this for 20 cedis.
But today, how much are you buying?
40. Times the last 2 weeks' money. So right now it's 40 instead of 20.
So how much do you now budget for the market?
Can we buy the debt? The money we brought is finished. You have to go to the NTM guide to get another money.
That's our Living Standard series with my mate Senior Mitchell Thompson and the team. Now it's time for Tech Thursday, and forgetting to turn off your lights or other electrical appliances before leaving the house is a commonplace. This has the potential to waste energy and sometimes lead to fire outbreaks. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with a developer of an app that can help you do so remotely.
According to engineer Kusi, the device was initially developed to automatically turn street lights on and off at preset times, and the SMS feature of the device enables the overriding of the switches on and off times. He explained that when the electrical appliance is connected to the key switch device, one can use the underlisted SMS codes from the mobile phone to regulate the appliance.
This is a device. It has a GSM connection that allows you to put a normal SIM, GSM SIM, and only you have the number. So the person who is going to use it will keep the number, the SIM for the number. Then, so once it's connected to the system, or for example, the lights. So now this is controlling the lights. Once you do the connection to the lights, if you want to switch it off, then you just send a text message to the number on the SIM.
That's our Tech Thursday, and the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund is asking Government of Ghana to reverse its decision to proceed with plans to mine bauxite in the Itiwa Forest Reserve. The Executive Director for the Ecosystem Partnership Fund, Olivier Langrad, said Ghanaian authorities are pursuing short-term gains instead of the immense benefit the Itiwa landscape provides.
If you look at Atiwa Forest, there are many different rivers coming out of this forest. If you cut down the forest, not only you lose biodiversity, but you lose these essential ecosystem services that Atiwa Forest is providing. And who's going to provide this freshwater water that is needed by the communities, and by people living in urban centers, once these rivers sources have dried out. So that's a very important issue, and I'm afraid that it's a short-term profit that is taking over the long-term view of the economic development of a country. So natural capital needs to be managed, for the long run.
That's Olivier Langrad, is the Executive Director for Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund. Well, financial analyst and founder of Raw Sporting Investments, Daniel R. McConvey, has warned that Ghana should not sell the Japa royalties, even though we are in tough times. Daniel, in an interview on Upfront, raised concerns that it is better for Ghana to invest in its own royalties and reap the future benefits. Well, he's against the Japa royalties deal.
Because of my history with royalties, it just hit a nerve. It just hit a nerve, because I know the value of royalties, as I'll go into. I've seen them grow. I've seen the values, and I think the last thing any country should be doing is selling their gold royalties, especially if you think the gold mine production will stay steady or increase. And I'll go into that later. So it hit a nerve of experience that it went against everything I've experienced and believe in. Well, we'll go into the valuation later, okay. But it's mainly I've seen the value of these grow, and we'll look at some of the companies, and I've seen them grow too. I guess it's not impossible. There are circumstances where you do so, but they have to be quite dire, because I think that it's a great investment to have in the ground is your gold reserves, because they tend to grow in value over time.
That's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We've been live also on myjoyonline.com, also on Facebook, Spotify, and on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm very sorry. Father of Achimota School Rasta student apologizes for accusing son of assault. Smallpox vaccine is effective for monkeypox. Kwame Sapong Esidu is saying that the Council of State can't justify the amounts we spend on them. Professor Jimanduya earlier. That and more on my Joy Online. I am MFA Apau. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. Please stay for it.
Hello, please, am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number so that we can put the money in your account.
Hey, Enyemeba.
Hey, oh, Dada, MTN will never ask